Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Thank you very much for clicking on it. I really appreciate it. I hope you all had a very happy holiday season and are looking forward to the new year. Today is the first of 4 videos that I'm going to be doing across this week, in which I'm going to be talking about my favorite releases of 2021 in various categories. Across the week, I'm going to be talking about my top albums, my top B-sides, and my top title tracks, but today I'm going to kick things off with my top 10 debuts of 2021. I'm going to be going from 10 all the way through to my number 1. I'll talk a little bit about why each is on the list, but before I get into it, a few disclaimers, because some people, I know some people are going to get mad about it, but just a few disclaimers. One, this is not a list or ranking of like the best debuts. In music, best or worst is a completely subjective thing. There is no such thing really, because everyone will have a different opinion. This is simply like my personal favorites, right? Following on from that, number 2, feel free to share your own favorites in the comments. I would love to see them. It's always fun to talk about our faves, right? But always remember, be respectful of each other, be respectful of me, and be respectful of the artists. That's very, very important. Like any toxicity or hate or anything like that will just be immediately removed, so don't even waste your time, basically. And number 3, final disclaimer for this one, for my list today, I am not just focusing on the debut track itself. I'm also going to be basing my choice on subsequent releases, B-sides, and even variety content. So basically the entire debut period across this year, and how much each artist has impacted me personally. I may leave a list based like just on the debut track because it's a very different list. I may leave that either like later in the video or in the pinned comment if people are interested in seeing that. But yeah, this is based on much more than just the debut song in and of itself. So keep that in mind as we go through. So now that that's out of the way, got the disclaimers out of the way, let's get into the fun part, let's get into the video. So, starting us off at number 10, we have Bugaboo. So Bugaboo are one of the more recent debuts on this list. They debuted, oh my god, it was October. Yeah, it was just before Halloween, which entirely tracks. But yeah, one of the newer debuts on this list, or more recent debuts, but good lord, they came in with, I think, one of the biggest earworms of the year. Like if you listen to that song and don't get that hook stuck in your head, then like how how do you do that? Because it could not be me. But then again, they are produced by Ryan Dunn. Any group produced by Ryan Dunn was always going to have incredible music, kind of reminiscent of Stacey with Black Eyed Peas song. They have a slight advantage in their producers. But anyway, Bugaboo may only have a couple of songs to their name, but both of them are amazing. They obviously have Bugaboo and they have the B-side that it came with. And the Bugaboo MV itself is one of the most fun music videos that I've watched this year, not just in terms of debuts, but just in general. It's such a fun music video. All the different movie references, the spaghetti western theme. Toyon has a pink whip, an icon. Like it's just such a fun music video. I love watching it. And the song itself is a banger. So yeah, it's a winner for me. There's also one of quite a few groups actually on this list that have like highly anticipated members on it, with both Toyon and Unse obviously being former Produce 48 contestants and well-loved contestants at that, so always very, very nice to see. And yeah, overall the debut was just super, super fun, and I am really looking forward to seeing what they bring in 2022. So moving on to number 9, one of 2 boy groups on this list, because the girl groups are dominated for me. But yeah, at number 9 we have Blitzers. So this is actually the group that I think I know the least on this list. I don't know the members, I haven't seen any content beyond their MVs and their albums, but the reason they've left such an impact on me is just because their music is so damn good. It's so freaking good. I remember the second that I heard those electric guitars in Breathe Again, I knew I was gonna love the group, and they've only continued to prove that to me with their comeback with what was it? Oh boy, We'll Make a Mistake, I think is the name of the track. And the albums themselves. If you haven't had a listen to their albums, I highly recommend you do so. Their B-sides are so freaking good, and yeah, I may not know them well at all, but they are 100% a group that I have my eye on, and I want to get to know better in the future, so I'm keeping my eye out on blitzers. Let's move on. So coming in at number 8, we have Tribe. Now, Tribe have had a pretty busy year. It's honestly, it's one of those, so they debuted back in February, I think. And they're one of those groups where it feels like they debuted last year because they've done so much this year. They've had 3 releases. So we had the debut and then 2 comebacks across 10 months, which is kind of wild. I don't have a huge amount to say about them other than, while I don't really understand their concept, it kind of goes over my head, but it's a lot of fun, and as far as I'm concerned, they haven't missed a single time with their music. Like their title tracks are so much fun in particular, and there's a few B-sides that I can think of that have just stayed with me for months, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they continue to grow, because I feel like they're a group that's gone under a lot of people's radars, and it doesn't help that as a reactor they're one of the more frustrating groups because their reactions to them just immediately get blocked, but they're definitely a group that I am interested in. I don't know super well, but I know the members well enough, and yeah, I'm excited for them. I think they keep working as hard as they are. I think they have a really bright future ahead of them. So, yay Tribe. Alrighty, so moving on to number 7, we have Hot Issue. I feel like Gratata was a little bit hit or miss for a lot of people. It was kind of one of those tracks where people either really liked it or they found that it was a bit too generic or whatever. I hate the word generic, but it is what it is. Personally, I really enjoyed Gratata. I think it was a really fun track, although I will admit that I did find Icons to be a stronger title track. But what really, really sets Hot Issue apart for me are their B-sides. Like Hot Candy, Dunga Dunga, and especially like Hide in the Dark are such standouts for me, not just in terms of like debut album B-sides, but like just in B-sides in general across this year. I think they're so strong, and I can't wait for more music from them in the future. If this is what they're delivering from like the outset, it's going to be a good time. I also really hope we get to see more tracks from the members themselves, because Dana really did the damn thing with Hide in the Dark. Seriously did such an incredible job with Hide in the Dark. I think it's at like number 5 or number 6 or something of my most listened to tracks of this year. Like it's just one of those songs that I just have not gotten bored of this entire year, and I can just keep listening to it over and over and over again. I love that song. So yeah, I hope we get to see more tracks from the members themselves, because it's always really cool to see. But overall, just their music in general is amazing. I know that they've got a new like variety show that started. I haven't had a chance to start watching it yet. I'm gonna save up a few episodes and like do them in a stream, I think. But I'm really excited to watch it, because the little bits that I have seen of them in like a variety setting, they're ridiculous and loud and kind of chaotic, and I'm just very excited to kind of get to know them more. I know them fairly well, but there's definitely more to be learned there, and I'm keen for it. Anyway, let's move on. So at number 6, we once again have one of the more recent debuts of the last couple months with Billy. Yeah, I said about hit or miss with Gratata, but I think this was definitely one of, if not the most experimental debut of the last couple of years. The song was very divisive. It was a very interesting interesting thing to see people's reactions to it. I think overwhelmingly I saw a very positive reaction, but there was a lot of like, what the hell is this? Because it was just so out of left field. But you know, kind of to be expected coming from a company that's a subsidiary of SM. But yeah, for me the experiment completely and utterly paid off. It was such a great song, both with Ring by Ring and the album itself, which honestly was one of the most fun listening experiences that I've had this year. Like, it was just so cool to go through that album. Yeah, they have a really interesting musical style, a very unique musical style, and if they kind of continue down this route, it's only gonna help set them apart from, you know, the masses of rookie girl groups that there are, both that have already come out and are due to come out in the next, you know, 6 months or so. Also, as far as their concept is concerned, I may not have the brain cells required to fully understand it, like their lore, I mean, but I do find it really interesting and I want to learn more, and I will eventually. I just have not had like the time to like sit down, engage the brain and try and figure it out, but it is really, really cool. I love groups that have concepts. I love groups that have like lore and stories and stuff like that. Groups that have concepts. Every group has a concept. You get what I mean. I mean in regards to like story and lore. And so I always enjoy kind of diving into that and learning more about it. So eventually that'll happen. But yeah, if you pair all of that with the members themselves being hilarious and stupidly talented, which by the way, if you haven't seen Billy and Bugaboo's episode on Idol League, I highly recommend. It is such a good time. They're so funny. Both groups together, amazing. But yeah, go watch that. But yeah, so if we pair all of that with the members themselves, and then also the fact that they have now added Sean, aka Suyeon from Girls Planet, it's a very, very much a winning combination for me, and I'm super excited to see what Billy does next. We obviously had their Christmas release, but there's so much else that they can do. They have only just begun, and that is a very exciting time. But yeah, Billy is great. Let's move on. Quick interlude just to say, good lord, there are so many typos in my notes. I clearly was not paying attention when I wrote these yesterday. Anyway, coming in at number 5, we have the last of the boy groups on this list, Kingdom. Now, Kingdom, honestly for me, stands as the boy group debut with the absolute coolest concept. It's so cool. I know I remember when they were announced and like what is on my lip? They were announced and like people were kind of talking about their concept, this idea of each of the members representing a king and a king from history and you know, each comeback kind of forming around that, and there were kind of question marks of like, oh, is this going to be really cheesy? It's either going to be really cheesy or really cool, and thankfully it ended up on the really cool side, at least for me. I think their concept is just, it's so fascinating and it's so well done, like it's so well executed. I think it's a very clever way, again, of like setting themselves apart from you know, the bulk of groups that are out there. And it also just, it gives each member a chance to shine in a really big way in each comeback, and I think that's just really cool. It's really, really cool. I think it's such an interesting idea, and I can't wait to just see, you know, each of them unfold. But yeah, they're another group, much like Tribe, with 3 releases this year. They've been busy. Each one has been absolutely incredible. The music videos are stunning. They've only gotten better as well, I think, like in terms of like quality. The music videos are stunning, the songs are amazing, the choreo and the performance aspect, gorgeous. Certainly, the storytelling in their choreo is unreal. But yeah, and then you go into the albums themselves and their B-sides are immaculate. Immaculate. I swear to God, I need more people to pay attention to Kingdom and listen to their music because it is so freaking good. It is so freaking good. I'd say in terms of titles, my favorite still is Karma. Like, it's just that song gets me, and also just the whole aesthetic of that music video is so stunning. But yeah, the B-sides are also good. I actually really struggle to kind of narrow down favorites. I can pick like a couple favorites off of each album, but beyond that, no idea. But yeah, I can't wait to see how they tackle the upcoming releases. I can't remember who's next off the top of my head now. Is it Dan? I remember having a bit of a nightmare at the end of the last one where I was like, is it Dan, is it Muten? Because I can never tell those two apart. But I'm pretty sure it's Dan. Let me know if I'm wrong. Regardless, I'm very excited for it. I cannot wait to see it all unfold. And yeah, Kingdom are great. Stan Kingdom, they're amazing. Let's move on. Alrighty, so coming in at number 4. Oh, we're getting into the big boys. Coming in at number 4, we have Lightsome. Now, if you'd asked me prior to Vivace coming out, Lightsome probably would have been much lower on this list. And it wasn't that like I disliked Vanilla by any means. I actually really like Vanilla. It's such a fun track, but it didn't grab me as much as like other debut tracks on this list, which is why I said in the beginning about how my list, if it was purely based on the debut track, would be much different to this list. Yeah, Vanilla is a great track, but it didn't punch me as hard as some of the other tracks on this list. However, then they dropped Vivace, and between that, the B-sides it came with, and their variety show, Do You Like Some, which if you haven't watched, I highly recommend you do so. I have completely and utterly fallen in love with Lightsome. They have jumped their way up my bias list, and it has catapulted them up this list as well. You pair all of that with the fact that like we get to see the likes of like Chon and Nayeon finally debut, again, very much beloved contestants on Produce 48. It's just, I just love them. I love them a lot. And like, I don't trust Cube one tiny little bit, the Blue Box Company. I don't trust them as far as I could possibly throw them. But so far they seem to be doing right by them, and I just hope it continues. They are a serious contender, I feel, in the like battle of the rookie girl groups that's coming across the next like year or so. And I can't wait to see what they do next. They've already proven how versatile they are between Vanilla and Vivace, and I'm just very excited to see how things unfold beyond that. But also, yeah, Yuzong. Yuzong exists, and I love her with my whole entire heart. Anyway, Yuzong. I'm gonna be putting out an updated bias list video. I'm not sure when, probably at the end of this week, I don't know, but I'm gonna be posting that soon, and you will see in that just how much I love Yuzong. You will see. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. Alrighty, getting into top 3. So, coming in at number 3, we have Purple Kiss. Baby, purple kiss Now, 3 and 2 on this list were actually really difficult to choose between, because they're both groups that I love a lot, and both have music that I love a lot. But ultimately, I decided to go with Purple Kiss at number 3, simply because Ponzonia was not my absolute favorite title track. That being said, they are still super high on this list because they are Purple Kiss. If you have seen my reactions to them, if you have followed my journey with them, then you know I love them. The music is incredible, the members are crazy talented and hilarious, which, by the way, yet more Produce 48 alumni. We love to see it. Literally, this year has been really good for the PD48 alumni. They've been doing very well. But yeah, in general, I just think Purple Kiss have had a really great debut year. Obviously, they had a very long pre-debut period, but I feel like it paid off. Ponzonia, like, while it may not have been my absolute favorite title track, a lot of people really loved it, and it pulled in a lot of new fans, which is awesome. Also, you know, Doshi, the most iconic, the most iconic Doshi to ever Doshi, and also that dance break. I mean, yeah. And then they came back with Zombie, and then their B-sides. Like, have you listened to their albums? Their albums are so freaking good. Also, speaking of, you have to always respect a group that is self-producing. That's just so freaking cool. Like they And I feel like it's only going to increase as well. They're only going to continue to like grow and like have more control over their music, because at the moment we're obviously seeing a lot of lyrical input from basically all of the members who I think have had some kind of input, and then we have, you know, Taein coming in with some production-y stuff, and I hope we get to just see more and more of that, because especially seeing girl groups get involved in like producing and stuff is really, really cool. We don't see a lot of it, and seeing it from a debut group right out of the gate is really, really cool. So my full respect and love to Purple Kiss always. Let's move on. Whew, okay, so number two we have IVE. Now you might have thought, when I was saying in the beginning about how I wasn't just basing this on the title track, that a more recent debut would be at a disadvantage because they haven't had as much time to do as much stuff as some of the other groups, but no. No, not when a group 1 drops an absolute monster of a track like 11 and 2 is IVE. Like, I mean, I feel like I don't need to explain the impact that IVE have had. In less than 1 month, need I remind you, less than a month ago they debuted, but whatever magical combo is required for a Beastly debut, Starship kind of got it right. They really, really got it right. We were having a discussion on my Discord a little while ago about like, why? Why is IVE so instantly popular? And it is a combination of so many things, but ultimately, I think Starship just got it right. They just got it right, and I hope it continues. I know Starship doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation, but I just hope it continues. And obviously I know I am not the only one that was overjoyed to see both Wonyoung and Yujin not only re-debut, but do so in such a spectacular way. 11 is an incredible song. Take It is an incredible song. They have 2 songs to their name and they're number 2 on this list. I love that for them. Also, their little like reality thing, 123 IVE that they're showing, their like pre-debut process is really, really cool, and I highly recommend watching it to anyone that hasn't. It's a really fun way to obviously not only see like the pre-debut build-up of a group, but also get to know the members, like all of the members if you don't know Wonyoung and Yujin prior, but get to know the new members if you do know Wonyoung and Yujin prior. They're all just so sweet, all of them. I love them all so much, and I cannot pick a bias to save my life. I have no idea what to do. But yeah, long story short, IVE are monsters, and the K-pop world is literally theirs for the taking. I think prior to them debuting, the question mark of potential Rookie of the Year candidates for next year, you'd probably lean towards Kepler. Kepler seem a pretty dominant force. They haven't even debuted yet and they already seem like a pretty dominant force. However, with the way IVE have come in, it's gonna be a bit of a bloodbath, and I'm actually quite excited to kind of watch that unfold and see how it all happens, especially as a lover of both groups, and most groups actually, because I have a big heart and lots of love to give. Anyway, that's it for IVE. Love them a whole lot. Cannot wait to see what they do next. Let's move on. So, number 1. Honestly, no one should be surprised as to what my number 1 is. No one should. If you've paid attention to my channel even a little bit, even the tiniest little bit, if you follow me on Twitter, even just see a few of my tweets, you should not be surprised as to who my number 1 is. If you look at my shelves behind me, you should not be surprised as to who my number 1 is. It's Pixie. But yeah, it really shouldn't be a surprise if you've seen any of my Pixie videos. And to be honest, even like Purple Kiss videos or like the majority of my videos. I feel like I try and mention Pixie at pretty much any given point in time. I love them so much. There is no other debut group. Honestly, very few groups in general that have a vice grip on me stronger than Pixie does. Okay, listen, I could be here for an hour talking about them, but I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit concise. I made some notes, like I said, I made some notes. There's still a lot, but I'm gonna try and keep it concise. So, let's start. So Wings itself, pretty awesome debut for me, just in and of itself. Like the song is great. I love the choreo. The music video is super fun. You can tell they didn't have the biggest budget for it, but it's still a really well done music video in my mind. And considering, you know, it's coming from a basically unknown company, minimal budget, I think they did an amazing job with the debut itself. But then the fact that they followed it up with Let Me Know, and then with Addicted and Bewitched, and then you look at their B-sides, which are simply god tier. Like, they were my second most listened to artist of this year, just after Dreamcatcher. Which, like, if you know me, then you know you can't see it. Dreamcatcher, the #1 group of the everything. But yeah, they were my second most listened to group of this year, artist of the year. And their entire Bravery album, so the Let Me Know album, all of the B-sides on that album sit in my top 20 most listened to tracks of this year. I love that album. Their music is just, it's unreal how good it is. All Out may be a very small company, and like I said, basically unknown, but the amount of effort and quality that they're throwing at Pixie is just so like great to see. And again, I just hope it continues. From like the in-house production team, Kevin, to the sheer brilliance of Men of the Future with their choreographies, like the storytelling in their choreos. I think honestly, in terms of any group, not just rookie groups, but any group, Pixie has the best choreos for me personally. Like, the storytelling in them, the image, like, they're just so cool to watch. They're so cool to watch. They're amazing. But yeah, so in-house production team, Men of the Future doing incredible work with the choreography, the continuously improving quality of the music videos. Like I said, that like Wings, you could kind of tell that there wasn't much of a budget there, but like they upgraded for Let Me Know, and then they massively upgraded for Addicted, and then again for Bewitched. Like, it's kind of, it's insane the growth that they have had just across this 1 year. Again, they debuted in February, I'm pretty sure, so 10 months, and they've already like grown into, it's insane, absolutely insane. Super interesting, entertaining, and somewhat creepy story. Again, I'm a big lover of stories and lore in my groups, and Pixies is really, really fun to follow along with. It's relatively simple, but not so simple that it's like super cheesy or like too simple. And then just like the sheer talent and overall lovableness of the members. They're essentially a group that was just like made for me. Like completely catered to me and what I love in a group. I love them so much. I've said it before and I will say it 100 times. My favorite thing that has happened to me in K-pop this year was discovering Pixie. And that's saying something, because we've had some amazing things happen this year. We've had some really horrible things happen this year in K-pop, but we've had some amazing things happen this year as well. But discovering Pixie is 100% my like #1 thing that has happened to me in K-pop this year. I love it so much. Like I said, I could go on for hours about all of the things that I love about them, but I won't, and I will just end this by saying, stan Pixie, stan talent. They are the most incredible group. I swear to God, please, just, yes. So that was my personal top 10 debuts of 2021. Again, not a ranking of the best by any means, just my own personal favorites. I would love to hear what yours are and how your list compared to mine. So please do leave them in the comments. There were so many incredible debuts this year, so many that I couldn't fit into this list. Honestly, I think we were really spoiled for the sheer quality of debuts across this year. So if you do have different ones to me, which I'm sure many of you will, give them lots of love below because they deserve it. But yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning into today's video. Like I said in the beginning, I'll be going through my top albums, B-sides and title tracks across this week as well, so keep an eye out for those. But until then though, thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.